You voted for 1013. Let's analyze the best NH'er in PvP. 1013 starts off the fight with your typical Ice Barrage and immediately switches into range gear and preemptively changes to Mage Prayer. Fakies back into Mage gear, and then after this goes back into tank gear / range gear and attempts for a special attack. As you can see, he'll be grabbing his Avernic and DDS. Sadly, this is thwarted by a successful Ice Barrage by his opponent, but had they splashed, this would have been an off-prayer special attack on Robes, kickstarting his momentum. At this point in the fight, 1013 is going for another Ice Barrage, and then as soon as he's able to, he flicks back into his tank gear / range gear. From here, he's 85 HP, so he takes a sip of his brew, bringing him to a safe 100, flicks into Mage gear right there, and then as soon as he's able to, he goes back into the range gear. Then here's the funny part, he does another fakie, so as soon as he's able to right there, he goes into the Mage gear, and then it commits with the Ice Blitz. Crazy. So that was 3 or 4 fakies depending how you look at it. But look at his prayer switches, they're practically one tick. He'll never be spending time in his prayer book, anticipating his opponent's attack. Instead, it's purely one tick reactionary, as you'll see right here. After a mage attack, 1013 quickly switches back into his tank armor and then sips a brew at 102 HP. Because his inventory is messed up, he's forced to fix it like a natural PKer. But after this is when we see a really cool tactic called gear taking off. And what this does is he takes off his dragon boots, which give a negative magic attack bonus, thus increasing his chances that he'll hit the magic attack that he just went for. Another tactic that I want you to keep in mind of is 1013's use of melee attacks. As you can see, many times throughout this fight he will be using his tentacle whip and going in for a simple hit. This will keep your opponents off guard and is honestly slept on, as a lot of people just tend to hybrid, but as you can see, that's simply not the case with 1013. Bro likes his tentacle whip. Now let us observe just how many melee attacks 1013 likes to throw in throughout the fight. This is melee attack number 3, being a special attack. Melee attack number 4 with a simple tentacle whip. And then right here when they go for the mage attack, a simple armor takeoff, increasing his chances. Unfortunately still a splash, but another melee attack as you see. Now we'll be looking into just how 1013 does his staff flicking as well as his tank gear flicks. This is when you try to always keep your magic staff in hand because it's tankier than your crossbow, and vice versa with your tank gear. When you have your magic robes equipped, you are at a higher risk of being killed and KO'd. So while staff flicking and tank gear flicking seems pretty unnecessary and extra, it is actually a very crucial tactic that should be performed. Now let us observe such tactics. Immediately after this mage attack, 1013 flicks directly into his tank armor. Then a typical 3-way switch, followed by a flick into his tank armor. And here after yet another mage attack, you'll see that 1013 flicks directly back into his tank armor. Overall, the King of NH has a unique playstyle that particularly appeals to myself, for reasons such as having a certain fluidity when it comes to gear flicking, different from your typical rhythmic staff flicking. His use of all 3 attack styles, especially melee, readily keeps his opponents on the edge of their seats, always unpredictable. Lastly, bro is so fast in his gear switching that on numerous occasions he had to wait for the game to register before being able to input more fakies. From his extensive use of melee attacks to the fluidity of his tank flicks, 1013 was a pleasure to review. I ask if you liked the video to comment and subscribe for future educational PK content.